Welcome to the Spill Podcast, your favorite podcast featuring your favorite podcast host, me, your girl, Mrs. Wilson. So, welcome back, Spillers, to episode 4 of the Spill Podcast. Now, normally my episodes are like funny, and I think we'll probably be able to have a lot of fun. But these LPC-S's, baby, they got their serious face on. Ace, I just need you to look at the camera. Now she's smiling now, but I wish I would have saw her just a few seconds ago, baby. It was that business face, like we getting down to it. What you doing, sis? Anyway, I have some amazing licensed professional counselor, supervisors. In the right, look extra. In the building, I'm so super excited for them to be joining us today. This is an episode, Spillers, where we're gonna get real. We may get raw, we may say some things that you want to hear, some things that you may not want to hear, but I promise you they are some things you need to hear. Anyway, my line sister, Ace, aka Charmaine, is in the building. What up, Ace?
What up?
And then we have the beautiful Jasmine in the building. Hey, Jazz.
How you doing?
I'm doing. So listen, I'm excited they're here. They're going to give us a lot of jewels on how we can proceed with making sure we are where we need to be mentally. So I'm super excited that y'all are here. I feel like I have an amazing testimony. Thank God for Jesus. Hallelujah. Thank God for my therapist, Dr. Bradshaw with Baptist Hospital. Hey, Doc. Thank God for my mother, my husband, my daughter, my village that has really helped me along the way, along the years. I realized that I had some issues, some things weren't going right with me mentally about 5 years ago. And I was like, And my mom is like my best friend, so she knows everything all the time, every time. And I was talking to her about it, and mind you, she knows everything. And she was just like, I don't know, sis, you may need to go see somebody because this is beyond my control. So, and when she kind of mentioned it and we talked about it, that kind of influenced me to go ahead and see what's going on because, some of this stuff, it ain't right. So anyway, I said all that to say, I'm excited y'all are here and maybe this episode can help us to bring someone in or give somebody the steps in the path to take so that they can get some mental assurance and help. But anyway, before we get started, I'm just talking. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves and tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do, any organizations that you're a part of, you may want to talk about, spouses, all that good stuff. Whatever it is that you want the Spillers to know about you, say so. So we're going to start with you, Ace. Hey, girl, hey.
Okay.
I need you with a microphone, sis. Your voice is beautiful and your voice sounds good, but I need the people to know that.
I'll take the mic.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Charmaine. I am, like you said, a licensed professional counselor and supervisor. I am married to my wonderful husband. It's been 7 years.
Whoop, whoop.
I am the mother of 3 fur babies.
Fur babies. I love it.
All 3 of them. Okay, so I am the owner of Her Counseling and Wellness. I am the other half to Mentally Dope with Jasmine over there, which is our podcast and YouTube show. And I mean, that's about it.
That's it. That's all you got to say, sis?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to pass the mic to Jazz 1212. Tell us about yourself, love.
Hi. Well, I'm Jasmine Bishop. I'm a licensed professional, all that stuff. I'm a supervisor. But just like Charmaine, I own my own practice. Olive Tree Health is what it's called. I'm very single. I tell people all the time.
You're what?
I'm very single. I'm taking applications for all God-fearing men at this time.
Yes, God-fearing. You gotta
That
say
is
it.
the number one requirement. Everything else we can talk about.
Yes.
So that's the thing. So, but anyway, but that's just a little bit about me. But I feel like y'all gonna find out some more about us.
Okay,
too.
I love
Like it
it.
might get deep for a second.
Okay, well listen, I'm all for it. Cause listen, I'm an avid learner. I love learning. I don't feel like you're never too old to learn. So I'm here for all this. But I hope y'all heard God-fearing man, and I have some good male Spillers too. So listen, y'all know y'all can just DM me, girl. And I'm not Mrs. Match, whatever you want to call it, matchmaker, but I can, work a little something out.
If the Lord says so.
Hey, If he says so, we gonna get it done. So anyway, I'm super excited to have you in the building with you all being here. Every episode we do a Spill Mental check-in, and whenever there's someone in the Spill podcast room, you gotta check in, sis. You gotta let me know what's going on. I'm an advocate for mental health. Has been for about 4 years now. I guess I started going to therapy about 5 years ago, and I started working and helping friends and family towards that light about a year later. So I've been an advocate for about 4 years. And how opportune is this? We have therapists in the building. So listen, Spillers, stop, pause for the cause. Today, I really want us to be intentional. Of course, I want us to be intentional every single day. But with the jewels and everything that you're about to receive today, I want you all to really go into a space where you open up, where you're more vulnerable than normal, and you're able to receive whatever it is that's about to be given to you or that you're about to be blessed with today. But I really want you to check in. How are you doing? Self, how am I? How am I mentally? What's my thought process? How am I physically? How am I feeling? What's my energy level? And how am I emotionally? Like, am I happy? Am I sad? Am I in between? Do I know? Can I identify? This is the time that I really want you to utilize to connect with your emotions, with yourself, with your being, with your whole self. Y'all know I say all the time, if you got to stop the podcast, I promise you we'll be right back once you press play. It'll still be going. So really stop. Use this opportunity to stop and think about where you are. Okay? So while y'all are thinking and stopping, I'm going to start with you, Jazz. Mentally, physically, emotionally, how are you doing?
Okay. I don't know. Let me think of a therapist feeling. Because I mean, look, asking a therapist how they feel, how their own mental health is. I'm okay. That's not really it's not a feeling word, and it's not that specific. But I mean, literally right now, I'm a little bit tired. I can say that, and I'm tired in other ways too. Like, it's just been a heavy and hard season for a lot of my people, and that kind of bleeds onto me, client-wise, and so like energetically, we gotta like move that around. And so it's been a good weekend of doing that, but I'm kind of in the in-between. I would say I'm okay, and I would even say I'm good today, but it hasn't been like that all week. I'll say that.
Good. Well, that's good to go. Good to know, because like I said earlier, I've had a bit of a rough week, but I'm good today. Yeah. I think I've been refreshed, rejuvenated. Yes. I was able to reset. I had some really good worship. I worship every day, but today to worship, corporate worship with my people, I really was able to kind of release a lot of things. So that's really good to know. Okay, Ace, how are you, sis?
So I always say, kind of like I know Dr. says this too, that yes, we are therapists, but we're human first. So I am overwhelmed. So last week was a hard week for me as well too, and I do find myself a little nervous for the upcoming week. I'm praying about that, and I'm going to do some yoga tonight when I get home. I feel like that my body is like, we need to release some stuff physically, and we just going to be hopeful for the upcoming week. So that is like my overwhelmed but hopeful.
And I'm so just appreciative that you all were able to really just let us know how you're feeling, because like you said, people don't think therapists have bad days. You're the one with the tools. You're licensed. This is your profession. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the things that we go through, we're able to come and dump it onto you. You know what I'm saying? And you just go about your regular life because you have the tools, you know what to do, you know how to operate. But to know that, or be reminded that you all are human too, that really helped so much. And I learned that from my therapist. Thank God he was Christian, so that made it easier. Yeah. But he literally told me, he was like, listen, I'm human. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, the first time, y'all, I was on the floor, like in his office, crying, boo-hooing for like 30 minutes straight. And he started crying a little bit too. And I looked at him like, what you doing? Wait. That literally helped me to get it together, because I'm like, why is this grown man in here crying with me? And he reminded me, he was like, it's okay, Latoya. Like, you're projecting some of your pain, like it's in the room, I feel it. And he was like, and I'm human. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I may cry too, but I'm not crying because I feel sorry for you, but I'm crying because I can feel your pain. And I know this is just a part of the process. Like, you're going to get over it, and you're going to go, you know, be able to go through it. But if you don't feel like you're able to get over it, you'll be able to work through it, because I'm going to give you tools that'll help you. So it's good to know, Spillers, that we have licensed professional counselors / supervisors that are human, and they feel just like we feel. I've been okay. This week, like I said earlier, was a rough week. I feel like I did not do a lot of physical movement like I normally do, and it was because I feel like I had a lot going on. I was a bit sad, so I did a lot of crying, and I did a lot, like, I don't love it, but I've learned to kind of sit in what I'm going through, and I run from it. So this week I used that time for everything, whether it's my students, my family, everything that was projected onto me, I sat in it. And I prayed about it, and I cried about it. And then I had this little funky allergy respiratory infection. So that didn't make it easier. Then I was pushing and doing the most with and for Mackenzie. That didn't make it easier. And then I gotta be a wife. This is new to me. I'm just 2 years in the game. That was just like, but I pushed through. I was able to push through. Like I said, I sat through it. I dealt with it. I was able to push through. And I'm grateful. I'm like you. Like, I'm so much better today. Okay?
Yeah.
So, Spillers, I pray and I hope something was said and done to make you understand and realize that whatever it is that you're going through, you can get through it. We have therapists in the building that's letting us know they're human and they have emotions and things that they have to deal with as well. So it's normal. It's absolutely normal. But whatever it is, say something to someone. In order for us to do something, you have to say something. I say every other week that health is wealth. In order for us to be completely wealthy, we have to be healthy. And mentally, to me, is like one of the first starts. Okay? So did y'all have something y'all wanted to add to that, ladies?
That was comprehensive. I mean, you said it all.
Okay. All right, well, this is our Spill Trend segment of the podcast. Now, normally with our Spill Trend, Spillers, y'all know, I highlight and I illuminate everything blacketed, black baby, black gold, black silver, black diamond, black, hey, thank God I'm black, hey, I just highlight everything black. But this week, black people,
But
listen, I need y'all to prepare for the polls. That's the post, that's the topic, that's it. That's the Spill Trend for this week. The midterm early elections start October 24th. We have less than a week. I think about 6 days? Listen. I can't say what I really want to say and how I really feel because I'm trying to do better. I'm a work in progress. But we have to get to the polls. Unfortunately, it's too late for us to register to vote because October the 11th was the last day to register for the midterm elections, but it's not too late to register to vote. Okay, you can still register because you got some other elections, local elections coming up, and then the presidential election that's coming up. 2 years seem like a long time from now, but I promise you, it is going to be quick. But before we get there, Little Rock, I'm just gonna call it out. Little Rock, go vote. You know, our ancestors did the most. They went through the most. They died. They were tortured. They were made miserable so that we can have this opportunity. It's imperative that we take advantage. I often hear, and I hear from, people close to me, it's just this election, or my voice don't count, or ain't. No.
It's the ignorance to me, which I won't say that because yes, I believe the same thing, years ago. But midterm elections are very, very important.
Yep.
So the whole idea that midterm elections don't count, yes they do.
A lot. I mean, they're almost as more important as the presidential elections. I mean, we're talking about putting people into office who's going to be able to go or take things to Congress for on our behalf. But if we're not utilizing the privilege that we have to go and use our voice by clicking a button,
Come on.
what are we doing?
What we playing?
What are we doing here?
We playing.
And I'm just gonna be honest, I've been in my feelings within these last couple of weeks in my cities. I was looking forward to Lit Fest. I think I put that on the last episode of the podcast.
Yeah, it was gone.
Listen, Ashanti, baby,
Don't get me
the like
started.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the tech family thing for the family of
Yeah,
Jose
yeah,
Templars.
Everything.
Like,
Looked
we
amazing.
were excited.
Yeah.
My daughter and I had already been, I text our mayor, text Antoine, listen, I'm ready, I'm excited, y'all, we about to do this, I'm praying, and then boo boo don't stink. I'm like, what is going on? You know, we get a little, people get power, and that's neither here or there. We have a lot at stake. You know what I'm saying? Not only for our community, but for our generation, our generations to come. Y'all, we have to get to the polls and you have to vote right. Like I said on a post I made a couple of days ago. If you have not seen them in your little black community, playing with your black children, doing stuff for your black families prior to needing some votes, what are you doing?
Ooh.
What are we doing?
Hashtag Latinos for whoever.
Oh,
Hashtag blacks for whoever.
That's it.
Let me break it down for you.
Yeah, please.
If you have the opportunity to have someone govern you that is from your same lived experience, from your same culture, and represents the people and the place that you come from, please do that. Because we cannot downplay the level of racism that has happened over these last few weeks, openly, blatantly, without any repercussions, any backlash, no anything. We can just be openly racist, and that's okay. We can openly obstruct other black people from, I don't know, having wealth, having an easy time doing their jobs. This is why voting matters.
That's it. That was
On a
good.
local level.
On a local level. Ooh, girl.
I'm just saying.
You want to say something, Ace?
Right.
Ace just shaking her head.
I'm black women around you. You ain't know it. Right. Look at the black women around you and look at them and know that they are angry because they have seen everything that has happened these past few weeks.
Yeah.
And really have been gaslighted out of
Literally.
it happening or not.
Literally.
So, man, go do something about it. Don't
That's
leave us
it.
out here.
And that's
You
my
love
thing
black
too,
women,
like,
don't
you know,
vote.
we see these meetings that are happening locally. We're also seeing them in the morning that are happening like globally, and you see that these spaces that we're not represented in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, that in these spaces we're not being advocated for.
Right.
So it's like it's just like imperative for us to continue to show up in these spaces and to vote for these things because we're not being represented for.
That's it. And that's, I mean, it's clear. You know, watch the debates. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you hadn't watched the last two debates, like, what you doing? Because I think that that's evidence of who we need to vote for and why. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
clear. If
yeah.
you just look.
That's it. It's in our face. And I'm not saying who to vote for or trying to tell anybody how to vote, but I feel like you really need to be real with yourself. Like, let's be real. We can't keep saying who what didn't do for you or us, or especially ones that's never voted before. Like, really? You probably feel like that because you've never used your voice. You know what I'm saying? So that is the spill trend for this week's Spillers. Go vote, please. If you have 18-year-old cousins, nieces, nephews, friends that you know are registered, take them to the polls to you. I've done that. You know what I'm saying? My
Or
little-
will be 18. They don't have to be 18 right
Yes.
now. They will be 18.
Yes, help them get registered.
Right.
Like, I promise you, it'll make a huge difference on what's going on and what we want to see in our community. And right now, it's pivotal. It's necessary that we really get to the polls because we got too much at stake and we have too much hanging. And we don't need nothing hanging on the tree. Anyway.
Okay.
Literally and figuratively, yes. Okay, so this is our social media shout out time. So Spillers, if you are not following us on all of our social media platforms, please do so. We are on Instagram, The Spill Podcast 21. We're on TikTok, Spill Podcast, YouTube, The Spill Podcast. Be sure to follow us. Now, these two ladies have an amazing, super dope super smart, super fun, and I mean super cultural podcast.
Super black. That's what
And it's super black. Oh, that's what I'm saying while I'm thinking about it. Guy, you can have a piece of my love.
Oh.
That's what I need y'all. I need y'all to put that in y'all stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, I need y'all to
I don't think it's
I
pretty
forgot.
add that to the list. Cause I was listening to those, like jamming to the song, and I was listening to the lyrics like, wait. You know, follow me, but I'm not totally. I was like,
Yes, baby.
What
Yes,
is Mary
baby.
saying?
Even better, do you want to be on an episode where we do that?
I'm shy, but I would absolutely love to. I would be honored. I really would. But y'all, Steelers, they have an amazing episode. Like, I promise y'all, Charmaine can tell you, I fuss. I be like, sis, like, what are y'all doing? Just give me 10 more minutes. You know, you eat something like really good and you don't want it to run out. You just eat, like, oh my God, this is good. That is their Mentally Dope podcast. Like, I promise you, every time I have an alert set up on my phone, on my YouTube and my Instagram for when they go off, baby, I'm clicking in because I know it's going to be something good. Anyway, I want you all to give us your podcast information, and then you can give us your personal handles. And Steelers, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Download, subscribe, follow, all that, because it's a blessing in little old my life. Okay, I'm done. Y'all go.
The Mentally Dope, well, look, we have a few different platforms, but either it's Mentally Dope or Stay Mentally Dope, based on, you know, what handles we were able to get. But on YouTube, it's Mentally Dope. IG is Mentally Dope, or is it Stay?
I did, yes, it's Stay Mentally Dope.
Stay Mentally Dope. TikTok, we're the same thing. You can come find us. We are into shenanigans. That's it. And, you know, we love black people, and so it shows. We love mental health, and it shows, and so that's the majority of what we do. You can find me on my Instagram, on my shenanigans, JasmineB_LPC is mine.
And mine is Mrs. Charmaine B on Instagram.
And Mara S.
Okay, so Fearless, make sure you follow them, subscribe, do all of that. I don't think I'm following you personally, but I will be today. Because I absolutely loved it. And I mean, it's the bomb, y'all. I'm telling y'all, you may be in your feelings sometimes because you be like, they really about to end this. Like, I need some more. But it's amazing. It's just what you need when you need. Okay. All right. So we have a little break if y'all need to pee. Or
I don't know.
okay. You need a paper towel or anything, or you good? Okay. You gonna use that one? Okay. Spillers, we're breaking for a second. And then we're gonna get right into our topic
I
time.
feel warmed up now. I'm ready to go.
Let me go ahead and put. So I have I don't know if y'all have heard of Trap Jazz, Q-Note, and
A little bit.
They did one of our,
Philly Move,
they did one of our,
pink parties or something.
yeah, that's when I heard it the
Were
first
they
time.
not just here?
They're from here.
Oh.
Yeah, they have stuff all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I only just now.
Yeah, they did something
Right.
at South on Main a few weeks ago,
Yes.
and something at Cannibal Crafts. But I grew up with
that's right.
both of them. Philip and I grew up. My grandmother was one of the mothers at his church up until she passed. And then Quincy and I worked at Sears in like 2000 with Sears.
Not here.
So they have an amazing jazz album that I love because I love them. Anyway. Yeah, it's on Tidal. It's on Apple.
It's everywhere. I'm fine.
It's called Trap Jazz Music, and it's Philly Move. And it's dope. Like, it's dope. So when I do this this part, I just play it and kind of let them go through, and then
I love that.
so it's dope. It's my voice. Okay, y'all ready to go and get this party started? So this is the last part where we're going to ask some questions. Me and you have something in common, so I'm not going to touch on it a lot, but our fathers. So I'm just going to kind of mention it with the holidays and stuff coming up. So
Yeah, it was definitely probably gonna come up, so I see.
yeah, yeah. So all right, I'm gonna hit record, and then we'll hear Quincy now, and then we'll go. All right, I need to turn my microphone down just a little bit, I guess so. All right, Spillers, we are back. I hope you all enjoyed Trap Jazz, my boys Philly Moo and Q-Note, Quincy Watson. Whenever somebody say Trap Jazz or Quincy Watson, Philip always say sexy chocolate because of the the Watson dude from Coming to America.
Reindeer,
Right, Randy Watson. So he say sexy chocolate. And it's like super, I'm talking about, I've heard him say this, I promise y'all, 50 times, and I still holler when he says it because it's super funny. Okay. Now to the nitty gritty, to the real spill, to the part of, right, of the podcast that the spillers are listening for. Listen, this episode is going to be maybe a little deeper and a little raw than normal episodes, but we need it, and I feel like it's necessary right now. This is a time personally where I feel like emotions are extremely heightened. Because the holidays are coming up. It's something that I don't look forward to every year, but I always look forward to like the good stuff and the happy stuff. I find ways to find me a happy, so that I can be happy and be at peace and have like that internal joy. But like the month of October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. My mother is a 7-year survivor. Hallelujah. But it's something still that I have friends, close friends, that mothers didn't make it. I have an aunt that didn't make it. I have a great aunt that didn't make it. Before my grandmother, she transitioned from Alzheimer's last year, but she was a 20-something year survivor. So I have so much I feel like I could celebrate, but I know there's so many others around me that can't. So not only that, but we have Thanksgiving coming up. So we have us not being able to celebrate and be with those that we love the most. Like that portion of happiness is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Christmas, you know. My grandmother's birthday was Christmas. She lived to be 98. That was one of my best friends. I was blessed to help care for her last 8 years of her life. My dad, he was 52. He died like 9 days before Christmas. You know, and this year's 10 years. But that Christmas 2012, I don't even remember celebrating. And Christmas is my most favorite. Y'all, I've been playing Christmas music in my classroom. I promise you already. Like, I love this time of the year.
Yeah.
But the time of the year that is supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, unfortunately for a lot of people, it's not. For me, years ago, it wasn't. Last year, I was kind of reminded. My first Christmas was at my grandmother. Her birthday and Christmas, that is, you know, it was a bit of a struggle. So this episode, I wanted to have this conversation because I feel like some of us that struggles with anxiety, depression, anger, loneliness, sadness, mental challenges, silently, grief. It's just a conversation that I feel like we need to have. And I just want you all to just kind of give us some tools that will help us to get on the journey of mental health, a great and healthier mental health rep. So we just celebrated National Mental Health Day, October 10th. I celebrate it every year. I always do my post. I may wear one of my mental health shirts. I do random checkouts. One of my friends that I know have had some things going on in my family that I know has been going through and goes through but won't ever go to a therapist. So I feel like this is a good time for this conversation. So the first question I have for you, beauties and you licensed professional counselors, whenever we are struggling mentally, what is a start? Like for someone that has never thought of therapy, never considered therapy, never been to therapy, has never had anybody to say, sis, you may need to go sit in that chair, or bro, you may need to go holler at somebody. Where do we start? Like we got all of this discombobulation in our brains, and all we're thinking about is the blunt, the drink, the club, sex, suicide. Like, where do we start?
So I would say that we start with awareness, which I know is hard because for most of us, kind of like you were saying earlier, that this has become the culture for us. It is our culture. We have been known for years just to be like black women with attitudes, not realizing that attitudes have roots. So yes, the girl who is snapping on everybody at work, or who is hating on everybody, or constantly gossiping, can't hold friendships, like can't hold men, or has like multiple relationships and those things. Like we're quick to judge without realizing that there's something clearly going on there. And then a lot of times for us too, we don't like the words depression and anxiety because those things don't apply to us. Well, for one, because it does not look the way that it looks on TV. I mean, on TV, sorry.
It does not look like for black people as it does in the DSM.
Yes, because in a sense, like, we think about depression as like someone who's just like, not leaving the bed for like multiple days, or they're crying every day. For some of us, that's a luxury.
No,
I can't be in the bed. Yeah, I can't be in the bed crying every day. Like, I got kids, I got a job,
I go to work,
yes.
I got bills.
So like, yes. So, but that depression may come out in different ways. Your depression is you coping with sex, or you coping with drugs, or you having a nasty attitude every day because you're sad, or your anxiety may come up that like that you're irritable, or it comes up in like physical symptoms. You can't use the bathroom. You're using the bathroom all day.
Right.
You can't go to sleep at night. You super irritable at work. Like, all of those are actually depression and anxiety symptoms, but they may not look the way that people think that they look.
Ooh, girl,
Absolutely.
you in some front doors. Now you in some rooms. Jazz.
I mean, it's kind of along the same lines. Like, when people get to the point that they come see me, it's because something has pricked them, right? In a different way. So that might also mean something's not going right at work, or something like there's a mood they can't shake, right? Something's happening in their life that they probably can't get to move around any other way. And so, like she was saying, like, have some awareness around it. Oh, there's a thing happening. I don't have to like disconnect from it. I don't have to run from it. I don't have to numb from it. Just notice there's a thing happening, and that's really the first step. Then you can go to somebody and be like, there's a thing happening. Right? Like, you don't have to have all the words. You don't have to know exactly why, but you can also say, there's a thing happening. Help me figure it out. Versus like, I'm fine. I'm okay. Because that don't solve anything. It just keeps you stuck.
That's it. Complacent. And I love that when you said earlier, Charmaine, that some people just think black women have attitudes. And that's what we were talking about before we started recording, y'all. I think in the African American community, we become adapted to trauma because that's what has happened, or that's what our generations before us have dealt with, right? It's the norm for them. It's the norm for our grandmas, our great grandmas, our aunts, our great aunts, even our mamas. You know, a lot of things.
It's a norm for us.
And it's a norm for us, yeah, that we go through things and it's like, you'll be all right. You know, you'll get over it. You'll be fine. It always happens like that. Like, it becomes a norm, and that's not normal.
And then we judge each other for the other thing. Like, oh, what she mean? She a day off. We don't do that.
Right.
Like, why she over there crying? She better get up and get to work. Like, we would tear people down. Like, what you mean? Mental health day. You got a nanny. Like,
Literally.
We tear even people for taking care of us because, no, we don't do that. As a strong black woman, you should take the entire load, never complain about it, handle everything. It is like, that is tearing us apart.
It is, and I'm always reminded of the Proverbs 31 woman. You know, how if you just read that entire scripture, I think starting at verse 10, how everything that she did, she made sure that her king's clothes were ironed. She made sure to give him what he wanted when he wanted, pleased him every way that she could. She took care of her home. She took care of her children. Her children called her blessed. She never blew her candles out. But it's like, God had to have been with her, you know what I'm saying? Because right now we can't handle that, you know what I'm saying? And as much as we strive or try to be that Proverbs 31 woman, we have to take care of ourselves too. I promise you, God was doing some taking care of her in so many ways, to where he was making sure she was capable and able physically, mentally, emotionally to do everything that she was doing. But I feel like right now, we're so used to you're supposed to do that. That's what we do. What you're crying for, what you're taking them in. No, that's not normal.
No, and just because we had to or they had to doesn't mean that we still need to, right? Like, that's the blessing from our ancestors, right? They had to do the things they had to do. We have a blessing, hopefully so, or we will continue to create a blessing where we get to check in with ourselves and we get to say, oh no, that's optional. Not I have to keep going to my own detriment.
Yeah, I love that. Now, speaking of that, so where do we begin with unpacking that generational trauma, unpacking even though our ancestors paved the way and did all of these things so that we wouldn't have to do it, it still seems to be like a burden for some of us. Some of us are still carrying that burden.
Mhm.
So where do we start when we're trying to unpack that generational trauma to change the trajectory of it? I mean, do something different. You know what I'm saying? So where do we start?
I tell people all the time, this is like the hardest walk for anybody trying to break generational curses. Like, we talk about it, we make like hashtags about it, like it's just like, cool and it's easy, but it's not. It's not easy when you have to go against the grain. It's not fun to show up at the family dinner and be the one to be like, y'all, that's not funny. Oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to eat that. Because then you have the potential of being shunned from the family or being chastised. And to be honest, a lot of us don't want to deal with that because like that's hard. I don't want to go to Christmas and be the one to be like, y'all ain't healthy. And then everybody be like, come and get out.
Right.
Now I gotta go home and be like,
you the black sheep.
Yes.
Wow.
So I mean, it's hard because a lot of times when you have that walk, you're gonna go on it alone, and everybody may not come with you. And that's the hard part about identifying, about making that change, is that you have to have the self-awareness and then be kind of sort of willing to go out, to go out there and change, even if it's just you.
Absolutely. That's the hard part too. But I think it's also like getting in touch with like why are you wanting to change? Why do you want your trajectory to look different? Because you'll have to be in touch with that to keep going. Because it's a hard process. There are a lot of forces. I think even, we talked about this. I believe in all this too. Like spiritually, there are things that make that really hard, right? There are going to be a lot of things that keep you from where you're supposed to be, you want to be. And so you have to keep in touch with that. And you have to be around other people who want to do that too, in addition to your family.
Yeah, cause your circle may change. That's hard too. If you're used to having friends where you guys do the same thing every single time, they did nothing wrong. They're fine. You're the one who's changing, and you can't really get mad at them. You just know that you might not fit in that circle anymore.
It might just look different.
Things are different. Yeah. And you have to be okay with that though. Like you can't take on that burden of trying to do whatever is necessary to make them comfortable and to make them happy,
or take them along with you,
very exhausting. The pastor talked about that today. Sometimes when we're being elevated, it doesn't matter what way. It could be mentally, spiritually. Everybody can't go with you, and that's perfectly fine. That don't mean you're gonna love them any less. You just know things that they do, you don't do anymore. Or the things that they're adapted to or that makes them comfortable. If you're uncomfortable, move around. And I say that so often to so many of my friends. I feel like I have friends that kind of be around people or have these friendships and relationships just because it's a norm or it's something that they're used to, and they don't want that person or those people to look at them different. But it's not good for your mental health. And I'm like that now. Like when I say, I was talking to my husband, I was like, oh, my little circle done got like super duper small. Like it's like not even a circumference of a real circle. But I'm okay with that because I'm better mentally. I don't like going places where anxiety is building up.
100%.
Like invitations when people say, hey, I'm having this, I want you to come. When I feel some type of way, I don't care who you are.
Right.
Like, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? Can I send you something? Can I contribute? But my presence will not be there and I don't have to tell you that I'm uncomfortable in that situation, or I don't have to tell you that I feel some type of way. I know how it makes me feel, so I'm gonna do what's best for me. That's protecting my mental, that's protecting my space. And I feel like women, men too, we need to do more of that nowadays. Like I fuss at my husband all the time, y'all, because I be like, oh, you don't do nothing, you don't be wanting, you just, and he like, look, I ain't got time for no foolishness or no games. No. And the people that bring it, like, it is what it is. Like, to hell with them. I'm going to do me. They can do them. And it's all good. I see them. It's what's up. Shake. And we good. Right. But just because it's that don't mean I got to be around them every time they invite or...
And see, I feel like that's a place that I'm getting to now. But to be honest, and I see this a lot in my clients and things too, that's a hard place to get to.
It is.
Because for years I would have like FOMO, or I struggle a whole lot with abandonment issues. So the whole idea of like losing friends or like losing people around me would scare me. So like I knew that I didn't feel comfortable being in places, but then when they would call, I'd be like, oh, what if they don't like me anymore?
Right.
Oh, I know, what if they don't call me anymore after this? And I would get nervous, and then I'd go, and then I'd feel crappy for being there.
Yeah.
It's a mess. But the feeling of like, you know, all those abandonments and like all those traumas would come up, and it'd be scared to pull away. And I think that like that's the hard part. That yes, it's necessary, but it's like that journey of getting to a place where you can be comfortable to say, I'm good. Because everybody ain't good at first. Especially if it is like, what if it's like your mama or your grandma?
Girl,
and you
cousins.
Yeah.
that you grew up with, been around all your life,
I
like.
need these people. I love y'all, but
Exactly. But that's the thing that makes holidays weird too, right? Is because I think there is this pressure, like you said,
Yes.
it's the happiest time of the year. It's the best time of
Yeah.
the year. It's right. It's where everybody's together and they're with their families. And what if you come from a dysfunctional family? What if
y'all
you
know,
come
yes,
from
we
a
do
place-
not have a Hallmark family, so
And how many of us do?
Right.
So then what? Then we have all these expectations for the end of the year, and how often do those expectations get met? That's why there's so much difficulty around that. Of just like, I'm supposed to be around these people, but what if my mama won't shut up talking about this thing that is very upsetting to me?
Right,
Or
right.
like if somebody comes and they always show out,
Right.
how am I supposed to be happy at the best time of the year?
Right. Or if you know someone feel a certain way about you, they hadn't said anything to you, but you know it and you've heard it. Like, how am I supposed to feel? Like, you want me to come in hanging?
Right.
My whole persona, everything changes.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I gotta like, you know, hold this in, cause
And you gotta hold it in. Or if you don't come, you're
It's
looked
the
up as
whole
the black
thing.
sheep. Like, you're the problem. Like, why she didn't? It's like, do you? I'm really supposed to like excitedly come around y'all, and I know y'all have said or done this.
Well, I remember, I think it was like last year before the holidays, it was all these posts I kept seeing online about like things to not say during the holidays. And it's like the preparation that we have to have.
It's sad.
For this happy time. It's great until it's not.
Yeah.
Until one person says something about somebody's fertility or somebody's
Oh my
Or somebody
God.
gay, or you know.
that little friend over there. Like, oh, there they go.
Yeah.
Oh,
And when did we get to that? How did we get to that rather? That we now have to prepare. Like, there's nothing genuine about that. There's nothing happy about that. There's nothing excited about the fact that, okay, make sure you tell such and such. Don't ask her if she pregnant. She just got a big stuff. Or don't tell, you know what I'm saying? Like, why the hell do we have to do that? You know?
But I think that, and I don't know if there's like some generational differences too, because you have some people who literally think that it's okay to say whatever. And it's like,
Let's
Like,
not talk
right.
about elders too.
Oh,
elders,
and
I'm
like,
gonna say,
right.
I'm gonna say, because
Yes.
you're elder, you need to respect me.
And I shouldn't respond. I'm an adult, a full-grown adult, paying my own mortgage, bills, got no kids, got no children tuition. But you can say what you want to say to me, elder, and I'm supposed to, yes sir, yes ma'am.
and
Exactly.
at what point do we become an elder? Because I'm trying to figure out, like at what point, like, we get that yes.
Because I know I ain't auntie, but when am I the elder?
Yes, because listen, I just feel like elders, you know, with all due respect, I'm still an adult. So at the end of the day, you have to respect me. It's a respect thing. I understand. The Bible don't say nothing about you being no elder and can say what you want to say and treat people how you want to. No, you can give me wisdom. You know,
100%.
but you also have to be careful with the way that you approach me with whatever wisdom that you want to give me. Because you have to be sensitive. You know, you have to be compassionate like Jesus so that I can know it's coming from a true and a sincere place. And you also have to have the spirit of discernment to me so that you can know how you can approach me with whatever it is that you're about to give to me. Because listen, if you approach me with some foolishness, you probably gonna get some foolishness back because I'm grown. And you're not going to talk to me, nor my children, nor my spouse in that manner.
Don't get me started.
That's all I'm saying. It's real though. Like, and it's like that every year I see people post how to respond and how to react for the holidays and stuff. That really bothers me, y'all. Because I'm like, why in the hell are we doing this?
But don't you know the people who need to see it don't see
Don't
it?
ever see it.
Yeah.
It's like
They not looking.
they don't even have social media. You need to pull them to the side and have that conversation.
But let me reframe what you were
child.
saying, because I agree with that, but in the same way, people gonna act how they gonna act, right? And like, as people say, they ain't gotta do nothing but stay black and die.
That's
okay?
it. That's it.
So what you can do is figure out how to move around that. Like, you don't have to tolerate being disrespected. You don't have to tolerate comments about abuse, or it doesn't even matter, or about the color of your kid's skin or anything, because we gonna get in all of it. But you don't have to tolerate it. You can move around. You can say, hey, I'm not gonna stay here. Like, you do what you gotta do, I'm a dip. Or, this is my house.
Right. Listen,
You
what
gotta
Martin
go.
told
You gotta go.
hit the dough. You better get some Martin in your skin.
I'm not gonna be uncomfortable in my house.
Right.
So,
Tyler Perry said it best. If you don't have no peace in your own house, that's your problem. You got that issue, because if you ain't got peace anywhere else, it needs to be within your house. So speaking of the generational stuff, do you all feel like when we grow up abnormally, and I say abnormally, like if we're not raised by our mom and dad, our mom or dad, like if you're just with mom or you're just with dad, or if aunt or uncle or grandparents raise us, do you feel like that there is some type of trauma from that? And I ask that because I know people who has a hard time with letting go, and we're talking about 40 and up year old adults that have a hard time with letting go. My mother was a single mother, but I was raised with her, my grandmother. They were the beast. You know what I'm saying? Thank God I had a daddy. My daddy was there. I have a bonus dad who's been there 30 years. He was there. So I never felt like I missed anything. You know, I was older before I was raised in a house with, two parents, but I never felt like I missed anything. Do you all feel like sometimes us being raised without our biologicals at the beginning, can that affect how we approach life mentally?
So I say that what makes trauma have weight is not so much the situation, but it's the message that is received from the situation.
Okay.
Which is why we can go through similar things and certain people be affected and other people are not affected.
Okay.
So if someone goes through a situation and they receive from that situation, I'm not loved, or I'm not cared for, I have to do things on my own, whatever that
get my needs met,
yes.
people around me can, all
So whatever that message may be received that you may not have received, but somebody else in the same situation may have received, then that makes it more traumatic, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. 100%. Same thing. Like, if you go off to war, not everybody comes back traumatized. Right? Like, you and your own sibling can be in the same situation.
Yeah.
It just depends on, as we say, how that's metabolized.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do you deal with those types of things?
Yeah.
And we don't get to choose that. I
Yeah.
feel like I need to put that on repeat.
Yeah.
We don't get to choose the way that, like, trauma shows up in us. Some people, like, it goes through them easily. They can easily metabolize stuff. Some people just cannot, and that's different, and it's no shame on that. Like, it's not something we get to choose.
So for us, or for those, thank God, that's not me. I said us on it. Well, I'm trying to relate. But for those who don't metabolize it good, like for those who just really, as full-grown adults that have had children, and that knows that they can do the necessary work to get whatever help that they need, probably have it, may have, but how do you feel they should, what direction should they go in? Because I know some bitter adults, like really, really bitter. And it's like, but you're so blessed. You know what I'm saying? Like, even then, you didn't miss out on anything. I get it because I've never experienced it, so I cannot say I understand where you're coming from. I can imagine, so I get it. But I feel like sometimes we probably need to always look at the blessings, you know what I'm saying, from that situation, and how there are some people that was in that situation, but they ended up in orphanages, or they ended up being adopted, or ended up just being in the system until they were old enough to be kicked out and having to figure it out on their own. But you were like extremely blessed. Like how do we where do we go from there? You know what I'm saying? Because you can't tell me how I'm supposed to feel if my mother or daddy wasn't there. There's no way in hell you're gonna be able to tell me how I'm supposed to feel. But I also feel like as an adult, like we need to take some type of accountability to get the necessary help and to heal. Because
I think that the hard thing is that most people, some people don't even realize how those situations affect them into adults. So like my example would be The Fresh Prince. Like y'all all know that one episode, that one episode that everybody always cries on. But to think about that in the context of like Will growing up with a single mom and like having this man that he knew existed, but he was like inconsistent, came around, and then like having the idea, going through life with the message of this person does not love me. There's a person that should be there that does not love me and does not want me. And how was it showing up for Will? Will was living in a beautiful house with a mansion and everything, but he still had that void. And so what was he doing? He was going after every single female that came after because I needed love. And I was going out and I was searching through it in some very, very mannish ways. And I feel like we have people who do the same thing. And they don't connect the dots of saying that I'm mannish because I missed out on whatever. So like for them,
more so Uncle Phil.
Push him away. You're not my daddy.
When that's the thing that you wanted.
That's exactly, and that's the thing too. Sometimes we have it right in our face. My pastor preached about it today. Sometimes God will put things right in your face, but you have to reach out and grab it. Like he's telling you it's there, but he's not just gonna always give it to you. Sometimes he'll make stuff effortless, but you have to put in just a little bit of effort. That's that tiny mustard seed faith, and that's what I look like when I think about when I think of Will Smith. You got this father figure in your face who love you, who's trying to show you, but that ain't what you want. You know what I'm saying? So you're acting out. And that's like that with a lot of us these days, even girls that dads weren't there, but we may have been blessed with an amazing stepdad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't what I want. So I'm looking for other things. Wow.
Absolutely.
Today.
It's work that needs to be done.
That's all the work, but we have to be willing to do it. We have to be willing to do it. We have to be willing to just let our guards all the way down and be okay with putting in the work. So speaking of that, with the generations, the children that we're raising now, because I think I'm an educator. And I see it often. A lot of single parents. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of undiagnosed mental issues. Like I literally work with this daily. And I see stuff these children are going through and they're experiencing. And I'm like, God, like what else can we do? You know what I'm saying? What do you all think that I can't say that they because our ancestors, I don't feel like I got nothing to do with this foolishness going on right now. But what can we do as parents? Like, for example, I am the type of mom, since therapy, my daughter is raised, she has an amazing stepfather who she doesn't address as a stepfather. This is just her father. He's like if you met them or saw their bond, you would literally be like, oh, that's his biological baby. That's how close they are. But even before he came into the picture, I always talk to her and allow her to be vulnerable and allow her a space to where she can say whatever she feels, how she feels, respectively.
Right.
Sometimes I have to check myself because I be like, she lost her mind. Hold up. But for the most part, even now, like she's in high school, she's a sophomore. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were having a real heart-to-heart conversation, and she was just like, "Can I be me? Yes, sis, do you? You know what I'm saying? But remember respect because your mama's still your mama. So if something gets applied, his fist, the shoe, just remember the respect level. But I try to have those conversations with her because I don't want her to harbor anything. She knows therapy is always an option. Her mama, she knows all about what I've gone through, what I'm going through. My therapist. But I don't feel like a lot of children have that autonomy or that space to have those conversations with their parents,
Yeah.
to kind of let them know how they're feeling, what they're going on, the pressures of this world, because they go through a lot too. My baby asked me, this was the conversation she asked me for a mental day. What the hell you need a mental day for? You don't pay M, you don't do, you know? And she's like, first of all, I'm a tinker. I make all M's and things cusses. I do this, I do that. You know, I let her have it. So I'm like, okay, sis, you may need a little mental day. Mama may have to holler at you. But for the mamas, the young adult mamas that don't know what to do, like what advice can you give them for their hurting children? Because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And if you're growing up harboring this hurt, this resentment, you're going to be like me, close to 40, getting therapy. You know? And I feel like it's never too late. Right. It's never too late and it's not bad. But if we can start it sooner rather than later, I think that would be much better. So for the mamas with middle school and high school, because I'm telling y'all gotta come in these kids. No. Y'all have to really come, and I'm talking about everything, just the pressures of their life, and then social media. You know, having to, this is the look that's gonna get you the cute dudes or like, it's so much, y'all. Help us. We need help. Where the campus?
And so in a small plug, because I forgot to plug my nonprofit where I work with teen girls as well too.
Okay.
Okay, so but one of the things that I constantly tell a lot of parents too is that the goal should be to raise an emotionally mature adult. So if you think about it,
Emotionally mature. Okay, keep going.
if you think about that when you're working with your child, you don't want, like, you know, you don't want a woman who's like scared to speak up. You don't want a woman who's like scared to, like, you know, be a leader. But if you constantly shut your child down, how do you expect them to just go like to like randomly one day be like, I'm strong? Where? So for me, I think that you're doing good by like giving her that space to talk and, like, you know, you doing your own work so that way that you can foster that into your child.
I mean, what? If you want me to break down what she was saying, I can break it down.
Let's break it down a little bit more. For those in the back.
Yeah, for those in the back, it's like it's the practical stuff. If you want your kid to have certain skills, right? I want, like, to think in the future, right? If y'all take a moment, I want my daughter, my son, whomever, to be articulate, to be able to share their feelings, to be able to ask for help when they need it. You have to also be able to meet them there, right? So like she's saying, model that for them. You want your kid to speak up when they feel some type of way, listen. If you don't listen or you try to solve the problem, they're not going to speak up. And then that defeats the purpose, right? If you want them to try to solve problems on their own, let them fail. Like, let them mess up a little bit so they can try to solve some problems on their own. Like, it really is letting it happen and then coming back and talk about it.
Yes.
Let me just say that too. Talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Big, small, because we all know we come from families where stuff has happened
On the
in
road,
past,
baby.
and we come back 10 years later and been like, we never did speak
Right.
about that. We never talked about it again. Whatever happened to so and so? Y'all in the family situation, y'all go to the holiday and some go down. Talk about it with your kids. Give them context. You know, age appropriate.
Yeah.
Context.
Yeah. This is where it started. This is the root of that issue.
Right. Look, this is what it is. This is how
But like
we're
you
doing it.
said, also like validating their feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
that's a hard thing too, is that we get it. When you have a child that is younger, like what's going on in their life does not always make sense to you. I ain't gonna lie, it probably does sound stupid. Like if they really mad about a cell phone or about a game, it does sound stupid to you because you're like, girl, I got bills, like, you know, people dying,
And we didn't have cell phones.
Exactly.
in their mind,
Yeah.
that's important to them.
Yeah.
So like in the
your
context,
mind,
yes.
it's important to you
So,
at that time.
yeah.
When you were a teenager,
Yeah.
and the phone and the social and the mall
Yes.
and all this stuff was life or death.
Yes.
That's all they know.
So what I constantly say is that if I ask you as an adult, what's the best thing that could happen, or what's the worst thing that could happen, your list would go from like here to Mexico. But ask your child the same question, she got a ruler.
That's it.
It's right here.
12 inches.
Worst thing,
Best thing.
yes, missing this game. Best thing, my right here getting done today.
Exactly.
And she's serious.
Yeah, as a heart attack.
So
Yeah.
validate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Come on, Black families. We can do better.
Yeah, we can.
do
And we
better.
have to do better. If, like you said, we want to raise strong children and not just by expecting them to adapt, you know what I'm saying, to whatever, but modeling, you know what I'm saying? And that's something I try to do all the time. So I just took this huge test. Whoop, whoop. I passed my certification. Thank God. Hallelujah. Paid some off. But anyway, it was 3 hours long. But I did that, and I showed my daughter something. She wants to be a dermatologist. She wants to have her own dermatology clinic. She wants to focus on skin hyperpigmentation for Black people. She
Please.
like serious
We don't
serious
have
about
any
that
Black
thing.
dermatologists in the state of Arkansas.
See,
so
I
we
let
already
her
did
know
that.
that, but she said she anyway. That's
Whatever.
another thing.
We'll talk about that later.
Right.
It's cool,
But
it's cool.
that's something that she wants to do. And Mama took a test that she had to pay $200 for. It took her 3.5 hours to take this test at a testing center where I couldn't have nothing on, no jewelry, no nothing. Going there, taking a picture like an inmate.
No weave,
you
no
know,
nothing, 'cause they all been in
literally pulling it. It's just, but I did all of that, of course, because I wanted to and I needed to for my job title and my position. And when I passed it, I screenshotted and sent it to her. I said, look what Mama did. So when you get ready to take your dermatologist test, I want you to send me these same screenshots that says pass. That's modeling. You know what I'm saying? I've let her know a long time ago. I hadn't always had it together. I'm never going to be perfect, but I'm Mama. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here for you. And respectfully, like, we can talk. We can do all of that. I don't want you harboring nothing, sis. Like, I want you to be your best self at all times. You gonna go through some shit, stuff, you know?
Right.
Stuff is gonna happen. You cannot help it. That's life. God chastises those he loves. You know what I'm saying? So when you said earlier, let it happen, let them, I'm going to do that. I'm like that now. You know, you didn't do this, so this is the consequence. You gotta sit in it, sis. It's all right because you procrastinated. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But we're gonna learn from this and we're gonna move forward. And I always ask her, so what did you learn from it? What you get from it? Like, how does it make you feel?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And she'll tell me, because I've been like, because baby, when I was in, she'd be like, Mama, this is not your story. This is not back in the day. Sis, my back in the day is not back in the day. So miss me with that. But the modeling, the talking, we have to do better, okay? So this is my last question. I cannot say I want to say the best for last, but I do want to just kind of talk about this just a couple of minutes because I feel like people need to know and I need to know. So I know y'all gonna give me some jewels. So grief, okay. So people are dealing with grief. Black people and grief. From personal experience, I have learned that it's nothing that you ever really get over. It's just something you learn to deal with. And I learned that because, of course, my dad, this December will be 10 years since my father, my biological father, transitioned. Super young. He was super young, 52. Super young. And then you heard, oh, you'll be okay, or it's okay, I'm praying for you, you know, God catch you, you know.
Everything happens for a reason.
The first couple of weeks after his passing, you really can't sit in those emotions. I was telling y'all earlier that he died less than 2 weeks before Christmas. So, and Christmas is my most favorite holiday. I've been listening to Christmas music already in my classroom. Everybody that knows me knows that I love Christmas. But I don't even remember celebrating it that year. You know what I'm saying? But I just remember all of the love and everybody around me hugging me, and I appreciated that and I needed that. But when it was gone, I was like in a sunken place. Last year, and my grandmother was 98 amazing years old. She lived and died in her home. You know, God had blessed her tremendously. Beautiful, amazing life. But that brought me to another sunken place. She just went to sleep and, you know, went on in her sleep. So I was relieved she never suffered. I'm grateful for all of that.
Yeah.
But I miss her. That's Mama, you know. And it's so many people that's coming on the holidays and do not like holidays, don't like the Thanksgiving, the Christmases, don't like none of this because a part of our happiness is not here.
Right.
I had to learn how to Toya, now you know this your favorite holiday. Go ahead, try to get together and try to be happy for, you know what I'm saying? But still, as much as I prepare for it, and I do, I pray a lot, I fast even more around this time. I try to do stuff to kind of keep my mind regular, you know what I'm saying? So I can be strong for those around me, strong for myself. But it's a struggle, y'all. It is a struggle because we want to be with the people that we love the most, even though we know that they're whole and they're well and they're living their best life. Hey, anyway, we know all of that, but it's a struggle. You know what I'm saying? What tools can you all give us that will help us to properly cope during this time? And like, cause I just feel like we just be wanting that joy, you know, that internal joy, you know, the joy that the Lord gave and the word can't take it away. That's the joy I be wanting. And I feel like I have to work so hard, and I'm okay with working hard to get it. But what advice and what tools can you give to us or to those that are coming up on around this time? They're not looking forward to it. They're sad. Even today, listening to this podcast, don't even want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Help us out, y'all, please.
I mean, I feel like I don't have any good news. I feel like I don't have any, because I feel like we want an easy button and it's just not easy. I spend a lot of time around holidays helping clients prepare for, you know, the coming season. And one of the things that I tell them is also like, maybe you shouldn't try to force yourself to be happy, you know?
Yeah,
Maybe
feel
you
your
shouldn't.
feelings.
Right, exactly. Feel your feelings. Like I want it to be a quick day. I just don't want to think about things. I want it like to just go well. And maybe that's a lot of pressure. You know? Maybe the thing is like you just get through this holiday. And like that should be enough. As unscathed or as least as possible, scathed as possible. It's a high, high bar to have to be okay all the time. And especially on these special moments, it's too much. You don't have to. Don't put that pressure on yourself. You and anybody.
I get it because it's a struggle. And last year I definitely did that. Last year was my first holiday without both my parents, and I tried to force myself just to like rush through the holidays. Like I don't want to have to deal with this. I'll be happy all day, and we'll run around and I can play games and it'll all be over. And it doesn't work that way. As soon as somebody plays a song or somebody somebody pulls out something or like somebody cooks something and you're like ooh and it hits you. I have to continue to remind myself that grief is not a bad thing.
Right.
Grief means that somebody that you loved is no longer here. And that clearly just means that it was somebody who was important to you.
Exactly.
It was somebody that you loved. So I tried to push myself more to actually celebrate my parents more. So like, and it almost took me out yesterday. My brother, I don't know why he did this to me, but he gave me one of like my mom. I used to be obsessed with Winnie the Pooh when I was a kid, and my mom bought a Winnie the Pooh thing that she used to put in her front yard, and apparently my brother had it, and he brought it to me last night, and I was just like, okay. But it's like moments like that, like that's going in the front yard. The Christmas before my dad died, he gave all of us Christmas ornaments because he told us all it was gonna be his last Christmas, and he put like Love Daddy on the bottom of all the ornaments. So every year it don't match my Christmas tree, but it's going in the middle. It's going in the middle every year, and it's like stuff like that. I'm preparing myself in advance that I know I'm going to cry. I know that certain songs are gonna get to me, and you know what? I play. I let it play. I cry. I keep singing, and we're gonna keep it. And we're gonna keep it going because I mean, it's just gonna go. And I think that kind of like Jasmine said, we put too much pressure on ourselves to think that I can push it down. And then also, why do you want to push it down?
Right.
I never want to get to a point where I don't remember these people. I never want to get to a point where I don't remember their presence and get a little like
but I get it. It's protective. It's it's very hard to do, but at the same time, like you don't have to be afraid of it, right? Like just do. It's terrible to do a hard thing and tell yourself that you have to do it right or perfectly or well. You're just doing a hard thing, just do the hard thing.
I think that also, like you said, well, like you're saying too, it's the vulnerable part, especially because you know, we don't want to be the one who's in the middle of like cooking with everybody, and then like, you know, you break down and start crying. Like, if I got to be the strong black woman, I don't want to be the person hosting games, and then I know where I break down crying.
Right.
And then especially like for me, like I spent a lot of time with my in-laws. You guys don't get it. So if I'm there and and I'm around everybody, then I know I'm just like, I go to the bathroom.
I need to be excused.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, learning to be vulnerable in those spots and like, okay, like this is me, all of me,
Yeah.
and my vulnerable areas and my grief.
Yes.
So it's okay for us to actually sit in and to have those moments, like you said, to go to the back and cry. Like it's funny because I promise you, my husband say, "Ooh, you all right, baby? What didn't happen now?" And it nothing has happened. I'm just having a moment. I don't care if it's like I told y'all earlier. I passed that test, you know. And a few days ago, I was just wishing, you know, my grandma would say one time, "If you don't stop eating, you gonna be big as a house." But I know she would say, "Go eat some sugar. You passed that test." You know what I'm saying? Or my daddy would have came and, you know, just turned up with me. Just anything. We have those moments, but sitting in them and being okay with being in those moments. Like, don't let anybody try to tell you how long to grieve. Or I told y'all I'm going on 10 years with my daddy and 2 years with my grandma, and it still
and when
feels.
will it be done?
Yeah, like I still
hurt.
hurt the same. I don't cry as often, you know. Thank God, so I'm glad for that growth. I'm more at peace because I know that they're in better places. I just miss them.
Yeah.
I miss everything about them. I miss so much that I feel like that I was supposed to share with them. You know what I'm saying? But my timing is not God's timing. And so while I'm in God's timing, I just learned to be okay with whatever is going on, but sitting in my emotions and my feelings for those moments.
Yeah.
So
As much as you can. It's a lot.
y'all done made my little ash come on, look. My thing is lifted in this corner. I'm glad y'all don't see it that close.
Feel your feels.
That is, I mean, like that's pretty much it. Just feel your feelings. Don't tell yourself that you can't feel them. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, and make sure that kind of like you said, like, you know, with your husband and stuff like that. Make sure that you have people around you who allow you to feel your feelings. If you have people who are gonna like shut you down or tell you, "Oh, girl, it's been 10 years. Like, I need you to get it together," or like, you know, put that together for the day. Yeah,
don't
like,
go see them.
Yeah, that
spend
might
very little time with them.
Yeah.
Don't torture yourself. Why?
Yeah.
You get to honor yourself first.
Yeah.
And then include whoever is gonna help you do that.
Yes.
That's it.
That's all. Well, cause I know my spill is going in. Cause if I wasn't on this microphone, I'd probably be on this floor, balled up right now. Okay. Okay. So last, do y'all want to? I was gonna say giving y'all information, but y'all little boy making me knocking at y'all door come Monday morning. I need to book a session. Okay, so this is the end of the podcast. I appreciate y'all. Tell us where to go. Tell us where to start. For those of us who've listened to this conversation today, and they're like, okay, yeah, I need a little help. Where do I start?
I mean,
Google.
Google. If you're looking for someone brown, if you're looking for someone who looks like you and somebody local, Psychology Today, and whatever, but also
Therapy for Black girls.
Therapy for Black girls.
Clinicians of color, melanated
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Something like that, melanated. Didn't Megan Thee Stallion, she got something. Bad Bees need therapy too, something.
Okay.
There's lots of things.
She has a link to therapists for Black girls. I
Yes.
believe.
Okay. There's tons of ways and things of which you can get to us. So.
And then I see a lot of times, and I mean, I'm thankful for the word of mouth, but I see people all the time who post just on Facebook or something like that. Hey, I'm looking for a Black therapist.
Tag the Black therapist, you know, and
we'll
that could be a good one.
The list come down. So.
Yeah, start today. If you are a melanated person in this world, you have reason to go to therapy.
So
And you
just-
probably
just
have
that.
multiple.
Just
So, like, if you're looking for an excuse, and like, do I really need? I don't really like. I'm okay, because I think a lot of people do that. It's like, I don't really need it. Like,
Yep.
nothing's really wrong with me.
Yep.
Yes, you're right, and you still probably need therapy.
Right.
Like, you still probably need an outlet.